Genesis GV90, the future of ultra-luxury electric SUVs. What happens when Genesis takes everything it has learned about luxury, technology, comfort, and electric performance and puts it into one huge three-row SUV? The answer is a Genesis GV90, a vehicle designed to take on some of the most prestigious SUVs in the world while bringing a distinctly modern electric identity to the luxury segment. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are taking a deep look at the Genesis GV90, a large, ultra-luxury electric SUV that is expected to sit at the top of the Genesis lineup. This is not simply another electric SUV. The GV90 is being positioned as a flagship, a vehicle designed for buyers who want the space and commanding presence of a full-size luxury SUV, combined with the quietness, instant performance, and advanced technology of an EV. The Genesis brand has already established itself as a serious competitor in the luxury automotive market. Models like the GV80 have shown that Genesis can compete with established premium manufacturers in design, interior quality, technology, and comfort. But the GV90 takes that idea much further. Think about the type of vehicle. This is designed to challenge. We're talking about the Mercedes-Benz GLS, BMW X7, Range Rover, Cadillac Escalade, and other premium three-row SUVs. These vehicles have traditionally relied on powerful gasoline or hybrid engines, enormous interiors, premium materials, and sophisticated technology. The GV90 enters that world with a completely different approach. Instead of making the engine the center of attention, the GV90 makes electric power, silence, space, and digital technology part of the luxury experience. And visually, that philosophy is expected to be obvious. The GV90 has the kind of proportions you expect from a flagship SUV. It is large, wide, and imposing, but Genesis is expected to avoid making it look unnecessarily aggressive. Instead, the design focuses on elegance, clean surfaces, a strong stance, and a distinctive Genesis identity. At the front, one of the most recognizable elements is the Genesis lighting signature. The brand's two-line lighting theme has become one of the company's most important design features, and on a flagship SUV, it can be taken to another level. The headlights appear slim and sophisticated, creating a futuristic face without relying on enormous grills or excessive styling details. And that makes perfect sense for an electric vehicle, because the GV90 does not need a traditional large-engine air intake. Genesis has much more freedom to create a smooth and aerodynamic front end. Instead of a conventional grille dominating the front fascia, we can expect a cleaner design that communicates technology and luxury. The front of the GV90 is likely to be one of the most important parts of the vehicle because it needs to communicate one thing immediately. This is a flagship. The hood should have a long, powerful shape, while the tall body gives the SUV a commanding road presence. The windshield and roofline are expected to balance aerodynamic efficiency with the enormous interior space required from a three-row luxury SUV. Move toward the side, and the GV90 size becomes even more obvious. This is not intended to be a small urban crossover. It is a serious family luxury vehicle designed for long journeys, executive transportation, and customers who want maximum comfort. The side profile should feature clean body surfaces, large wheels, flush door handles, carefully shaped windows, and a strong shoulder line. Genesis has increasingly focused on reducing unnecessary visual clutter, and the GV90 should continue that philosophy. Instead of covering the body with dozens of aggressive creases, the design can use simple but carefully sculpted surfaces. That creates a more expensive appearance because the vehicle doesn't need to shout to attract attention. And then we get to the wheels. A flagship SUV needs substantial wheels, and the GV90 is expected to offer large premium wheel designs that fill the arches while maintaining a comfortable ride. Of course, with an electric SUV, wheel design isn't just about appearance. Aerodynamics matter too. Large, carefully designed wheels can help reduce aerodynamic drag, which is important for electric efficiency. Genesis therefore has the opportunity to combine dramatic styling with functional aerodynamic design. The rear of the GV90 should continue the minimalist theme. The two-line lighting signature can extend across the rear, giving the SUV a recognizable appearance at night. The rear design is expected to be wide and sophisticated, with a large tailgate that emphasizes practicality. And that brings us to one of the most important reasons someone would buy a vehicle like this: space. The GV90 is designed around 3 rows of seating. That means this isn't simply a luxury SUV for 4 or 5 people. It is intended to give families, business owners, executives, and passengers access to a premium experience across multiple rows. In many three-row SUVs, the third row is the compromise. The first and second rows get all the attention, while the third row is something passengers tolerate. The GV90 has the opportunity to change that because an electric vehicle can use its packaging differently from a traditional combustion SUV. Engineers have more flexibility when designing the cabin. The flat battery floor can help create a more open interior environment, while the long wheelbase can provide generous passenger space. The second row is likely to be one of the highlights. Imagine sitting in a large executive-style second-row seat with extensive legroom, premium materials, individual climate controls, screens, charging ports, and a cabin designed to minimize outside noise. That is the kind of environment the GV90 needs to deliver if it wants to compete with the world's best luxury SUVs. And then there's the third row. Genesis will need to make sure that passengers sitting in the back don't feel like they were given leftover space. For families, that can make a huge difference. Children, teenagers, and adults should have usable seating, while access to the third row should be as easy as possible. The interior itself is expected to be one of the GV90's biggest selling points. Genesis has developed a reputation for creating cabins that look and feel different from traditional German luxury vehicles. Rather than filling every surface with buttons and complicated visual elements, Genesis tends to combine technology with a calmer and more elegant atmosphere. The GV90 could take that approach even further. Inside, you can imagine a wide digital dashboard, premium displays, high-quality materials, soft-touch surfaces, metallic details, and carefully integrated ambient lighting. But the most important word here is atmosphere. Ultra-luxury isn't just about how many features a vehicle has. It's about how the vehicle makes you feel when you enter it. The doors close. The outside world becomes quieter. The seats surround you with comfort. The lighting creates a calm environment. The digital displays provide information without overwhelming you. And the electric powertrain allows the vehicle to move away almost silently. That combination is exactly where the GV90 could become special. The absence of a traditional gasoline engine changes the entire character of the vehicle. In a conventional luxury SUV, you can hear the engine start. You can feel gear changes. You can hear the transmission working under acceleration. In the GV90, the experience should be much more seamless. Press the accelerator and electric motors can deliver torque immediately. There is no need to wait for a turbocharger to build boost. There is no traditional multi-speed gearbox shifting through gears. Instead, the vehicle can provide smooth, immediate acceleration. For a large SUV, that is particularly impressive. Imagine sitting inside a vehicle that weighs several tons. Yet when you press the accelerator, it moves forward with the instant response associated with high-performance electric vehicles. That is one of the biggest advantages of electric power. However, Genesis doesn't necessarily need to turn the GV90 into a supercar. The primary mission is luxury. The vehicle should feel effortless rather than aggressive. You want power when you need it, but most of the time, the GV90 should feel calm, controlled, and refined. The suspension will therefore be extremely important. A premium three-row SUV needs to absorb bumps, potholes, expansion joints, and rough roads without sending harsh impacts into the cabin. This is where advanced suspension technology can make a huge difference. A flagship SUV could use sophisticated electronic suspension systems that continuously adjust damping according to road conditions. The goal is simple. Keep the cabin comfortable while maintaining control over the enormous body. And because the GV90 is electric, the engineers have another advantage. The battery pack is positioned low in the vehicle, which can lower the center of gravity. That can improve stability and reduce body movement during cornering. Of course, this is still a large SUV. Nobody should expect it to handle like a lightweight sports car. But the low center of gravity can help make the vehicle feel more planted and composed. All-wheel drive is also expected to be an important part of the GV90 formula. A large luxury EV benefits greatly from having electric motors controlling different axles. This can provide strong traction in wet conditions, improve acceleration, and help manage the vehicle's weight. For drivers in regions where weather conditions can change quickly, all-wheel drive can also provide additional confidence. Then we come to the battery. Range is one of the biggest questions surrounding any large electric SUV. A vehicle of this size needs a substantial battery because luxury customers don't want to constantly think about charging. They want to drive long distances. They want to take road trips. They want to travel between cities. They want the freedom to use a vehicle like a traditional luxury SUV without constantly planning around charging stations. That means a GV90 will need strong real-world range, not just an impressive laboratory number. Charging performance will be equally important. A premium electric vehicle needs to spend as little time as possible connected to a charger. Fast charging technology can allow drivers to add a significant amount of range during a short stop. Imagine taking a long highway trip. You stop for coffee. The vehicle is connected to a high-speed charger. You spend some time inside the charging station. When you return, the GV90 has recovered a substantial amount of driving range. That kind of convenience is what will make electric SUVs easier to live with. And the charging experience should also be integrated into the vehicle's software. The navigation system can calculate charging stops, estimate battery usage, and potentially prepare the battery for fast charging before arrival. The vehicle should essentially take much of the planning away from the driver. This is where the GV90 becomes more than an electric SUV. It becomes a connected digital platform. Modern luxury vehicles are increasingly becoming computers on wheels, and the GV90 is expected to push that concept further. The infotainment system should provide navigation, media, vehicle controls, smartphone connectivity, and other functions through a large high-resolution display. But Genesis has an opportunity to avoid one common problem with modern vehicles: excessive screen dependence. Luxury doesn't always mean more screens. Sometimes luxury means knowing exactly where everything is. The best interior technology should feel natural. You shouldn't need to navigate through 5 menus just to change something you use every day. Physical controls can remain useful for important functions, while digital technology handles the more complex features. Voice control can also become a major part of the experience. Instead of reaching toward the screen, passengers could interact with the vehicle using natural voice commands. Climate settings, navigation destinations, entertainment, and other functions could potentially be controlled without taking your hands away from the steering wheel. And because this is a flagship Genesis, personalization should be a major theme. Different passengers may have different preferences. The driver wants a particular seat position. The second-row passenger wants a specific climate setting. Someone wants a certain ambient lighting atmosphere. Another passenger wants their preferred entertainment settings. A sophisticated vehicle can remember those preferences and automatically adjust the cabin. That is where technology starts feeling like luxury instead of simply becoming a list of features. The seats themselves will be critical. For an ultra-luxury SUV, seat comfort can make or break the experience. The front seat should offer extensive adjustment, heating, ventilation, and potentially massage functions. But the second row is where Genesis could really differentiate itself. If the GV90 is designed as a flagship family and executive SUV, second-row passengers should receive exceptional treatment. Large reclining seats, generous legroom, premium upholstery, individual controls, and comfortable headrests can transform the back of the vehicle into a private lounge. And because this is a 3-row SUV, Genesis needs to carefully balance second-row luxury with third-row usability. The cabin could also feature a large panoramic glass roof. A panoramic roof can make an enormous SUV feel even more spacious by bringing natural light into the cabin. At night, ambient lighting can create a completely different atmosphere. Imagine the GV90 parked outside a luxury hotel at night, with subtle lighting visible through the glass roof and windows. The whole experience is supposed to feel more like a premium lounge than a traditional vehicle. Sound insulation will be another major advantage of an EV. Without a gasoline engine constantly producing mechanical noise, Genesis can focus heavily on reducing wind, road, and tire noise. Active noise control technology can potentially make the cabin even quieter, and that silence changes how passengers experience music. A premium audio system can take advantage of the quiet cabin to create an immersive listening environment. For many luxury customers, this matters just as much as horsepower. Because when you're spending a long time inside a vehicle, comfort is not just about acceleration. It's about everything around you: the lighting, the seats, the sound, the air quality, the temperature, the materials, the ride, the space. The GV90 needs to bring all of those elements together. Now, let's talk about practicality. A three-row luxury SUV needs to be useful. You might be carrying 7 passengers one day and large pieces of luggage the next. You might fold a third row and use the vehicle for shopping. You might take the entire family on a road trip. That means cargo flexibility is extremely important. The rear seat should fold to create a large and practical cargo area. The power tailgate should make loading easier. There may also be additional storage space beneath the hood, depending on the final configuration. And with an electric platform, packaging can be more flexible than in a conventional gasoline SUV. This can help maximize usable interior space. Safety will naturally be another major focus. A flagship Genesis needs to offer advanced driver assistance systems. We can expect technologies designed to help with highway driving, lane keeping, adaptive cruise control, collision avoidance, parking assistance, and driver monitoring. The key point is that these systems should assist the driver rather than replace responsible driving. A vehicle this large can benefit significantly from intelligent cameras, radar, sensors, and software. Parking assistance could be particularly useful. Anyone who has driven a large SUV in a crowded shopping center knows how challenging it can be to maneuver a large vehicle through tight spaces. A sophisticated parking system can make the process easier. Surround view cameras can provide a 360-degree view around the vehicle that can help drivers see obstacles that would otherwise be hidden. And because the GV90 is a flagship, Genesis will likely want the technology to feel effortless rather than complicated. The exterior cameras, sensors, and radar unit should ideally be integrated into design instead of making the vehicle look like a science experiment. That balance between technology and elegance is important. The GV90 is not supposed to look like a futuristic concept car that escaped from a laboratory. It needs to look like a luxury vehicle that happens to use very advanced technology. That's a major distinction. Now, one of the most interesting aspects of the GV90 is its position within the Genesis lineup. Genesis already has smaller SUVs. The GV70 targets buyers who want more compact luxury crossover. The GV80 moves into the larger premium SUV category. The GV90, however, is intended to sit above them. It becomes a statement vehicle. The model that tells the world Genesis is ready to compete at the highest level. And that is why the GV90 matters. It isn't simply another product. It represents how far Genesis wants to go. For years, the luxury market has been dominated by brands with decades of history: Mercedes-Benz, BMW, Audi, Range Rover, Lexus, Cadillac, Lincoln. These companies have built reputations around luxury and premium SUVs. Genesis is much younger in comparison, but the advantage of being a newer luxury brand is that Genesis doesn't have to follow every traditional rule. It can design vehicles around modern technology. It can experiment with materials. It can rethink the relationship between driver and passenger. And it can build its flagship SUV specifically for the electric era. That could be the GV90's greatest strength. Instead of taking a gasoline luxury SUV and simply replacing its engine with batteries, Genesis can build the experience around electric architecture from the beginning. The result could be a vehicle that feels different from traditional luxury SUVs. It can be quieter, smoother, more spacious, more digitally connected, and potentially more efficient. But there will also be challenges. The biggest challenge is weight. Large electric SUVs require large batteries, and batteries are heavy. A heavy vehicle requires strong brakes, sophisticated suspension, strong tires, and carefully engineered chassis components. Efficiency also becomes more difficult as vehicle size increases. Aerodynamics become extremely important. This is why the GV90's design can't simply be about looking beautiful. Every surface can affect efficiency. The roofline, the front fascia, the wheels, the mirrors, the underbody, the rear shape. All of these details influence how efficiently the vehicle moves through the air. Another challenge is price. A flagship luxury SUV is not going to be cheap. Genesis may have a reputation for offering strong value compared with established premium brands, but the GV90 operates in a much more expensive category. Customers shopping for an ultra-luxury SUV aren't simply comparing horsepower and battery range. They are comparing reputation, interior quality, dealer experience, technology, comfort, brand image, and long-term ownership. Genesis therefore needs to convince customers that this vehicle deserves to sit alongside the most prestigious luxury SUVs in the world. And that means the ownership experience has to match the vehicle. A beautiful SUV is enough. Customers expect premium service. They expect knowledgeable staff. They expect convenience. They expect strong warranty support. They expect a brand to treat the vehicle as a flagship product. If Genesis can deliver that complete package, the GV90 could become one of the most interesting new luxury SUVs of its generation. Another area worth discussing is the passenger experience. Imagine this vehicle being used by a family. On Monday morning, the GV90 takes the kids to school. The third row is being used. The second row is filled with passengers. The cabin is quiet. The driver uses one-pedal driving or smooth acceleration through city traffic. Later that day, the same vehicle can become an executive transportation machine. The second row seats are adjusted for maximum comfort. The rear passengers have access to their own controls. The cabin becomes a quiet place to work, relax, or make phone calls. Then on the weekend, the third row folds down and the GV90 becomes a massive cargo carrier. That's the flexibility a large luxury SUV needs. And electric power can make daily driving extremely smooth. In traffic, the instant torque makes acceleration effortless. At highway speeds, the vehicle can settle into a quiet, cruising rhythm. During nighttime driving, advanced lighting and driver assistance systems can help reduce fatigue. For long journeys, comfort becomes a priority. And that's exactly where a vehicle like the GV90 can shine. The best luxury vehicles don't make you think about how hard they are working. They simply move you. You sit inside. You choose your destination. And the vehicle takes care of the details. That's the ultimate luxury experience. The exterior design also plays a role in this. Genesis has created a visual identity that is increasingly recognizable. The crest-inspired front grille treatment, the two-line lighting, the elegant body shapes, the restrained use of chrome and decorative elements. These features give Genesis its own personality, and the GV90 has the opportunity to become the clearest expression of that design language. Imagine seeing one in traffic at night. The slim lighting signature appears ahead. The tall body moves silently. The wheels are large. The body surfaces are clean. There is no traditional engine noise. It would immediately communicate that this is something different. And that's exactly what a flagship should do. It should make people look twice. It should create desire. It should represent the brand. When we look at the future of luxury vehicles, electric SUVs are going to play an enormous role. Customers still want large vehicles. They still want 3 rows. They still want comfort. They still want power. But increasingly, they also want cleaner propulsion, advanced technology, and a quieter driving experience. The GV90 sits directly at that intersection. It combines the traditional strengths of a luxury SUV with the advantages of an electric platform. And if Genesis gets the balance right, it could be extremely compelling. Of course, final specifications, pricing, battery capacity, range, charging performance, power outputs, and equipment can vary depending on a market and final production configuration. So rather than focusing only on numbers, the bigger story is what the GV90 represents. It represents Genesis stepping into the flagship SUV category. It represents a serious attempt to challenge established luxury brands. And it represents the idea that an electric SUV can be luxurious without simply copying the vehicles that came before it. For buyers, the GV90 could offer something very attractive. You get 3 rows. You get electric performance. You get premium design. You get advanced technology. You get a quiet cabin. You get substantial road presence. And you get a brand that has been increasingly focused on creating a distinctive luxury identity. The question is whether Genesis can convince traditional luxury customers to make the switch. That's where the GV90's design and interior quality become extremely important. Because someone spending a significant amount of money on a vehicle wants more than technology. They want confidence. They want prestige. They want craftsmanship. They want a vehicle that feels special every time they open the door. Genesis has been building toward that moment, and the GV90 could be the vehicle that demonstrates how far the company has come. If Genesis can deliver a sophisticated exterior, a truly premium interior, strong electric range, fast charging, excellent ride quality, powerful all-wheel drive performance, and a high level of technology, the GV90 could become a serious alternative to much more established names. And perhaps the most interesting thing is that the GV90 doesn't have to beat every competitor at everything. It simply needs to offer a compelling combination. Maybe another SUV has a longer history. Maybe another has a more recognizable badge. Maybe another has slightly more performance. But Genesis can say, look at the complete package. Look at the design. Look at the space. Look at the technology. Look at the comfort. Look at the electric driving experience. Look at the value. That is how newer luxury brands can challenge established manufacturers. And if the GV90 delivers on its promise, it could be one of the most important Genesis models yet. For families, it could become a premium electric alternative to large gasoline SUVs. For executives, it could become a comfortable and sophisticated transportation vehicle. For technology enthusiasts, it could become a showcase of Genesis's latest innovations. And for luxury buyers, it could provide another reason to look beyond the traditional German and British brands. The future of luxury is changing. For decades, luxury meant a large engine, a long hood, a complicated transmission, and the sound of power. Now luxury can mean something completely different. It can mean silence. It can mean instant torque. It can mean intelligent software. It can mean a cabin that feels like a private lounge. It can mean charging while you take a short break. It can mean advanced driver assistance. It can mean using technology to make everyday life easier rather than simply adding more buttons. And that is where the Genesis GV90 becomes especially interesting. It isn't just an electric SUV. It is Genesis's statement about what luxury mobility can look like in the next generation. The GV90 has the size to make an impact. The three-row layout gives it practicality. The electric powertrain gives it instant performance and refinement. The premium cabin gives it the ability to compete with established luxury SUVs. And the Genesis design language gives it an identity of its own. Whether you're looking at it from the front, side, rear, or inside the cabin, the goal is clear. Create a vehicle that feels like a flagship. A vehicle that doesn't need to rely on excessive styling. A vehicle that doesn't need an enormous engine to prove its performance. A vehicle that can move a large family while keeping everyone comfortable. A vehicle that can transform from a family SUV into a luxury executive lounge. And ultimately, a vehicle that shows Genesis is serious about the future. The Genesis GV90 could therefore become one of the most fascinating large electric SUVs of the coming era. It combines the traditional strengths of a full-size luxury SUV with the new possibilities created by electric power. It aims to provide three-row practicality without sacrificing premium comfort. It aims to deliver powerful performance without the traditional engine noise. And it aims to offer cutting-edge technology without losing the elegance that defines the Genesis brand. That is a difficult combination to achieve. But if Genesis gets it right, the GV90 could be much more than another luxury EV. It could be the vehicle that changes how people see Genesis. It could show that a newer luxury brand can stand confidently beside the biggest names in the industry. And it could prove that the future of premium SUVs doesn't have to be about making the biggest engine. Sometimes, the most impressive thing a luxury vehicle can do is simply make every journey feel effortless. And that is the promise of the Genesis GV90. A large, sophisticated, three-row electric SUV designed for a future where luxury is quieter, smarter, more connected, and more refined. So, what do you think about the Genesis GV90? Would you choose this ultra-luxury electric SUV over Mercedes-Benz GLS, BMW X7, Range Rover, Cadillac Escalade, or another premium three-row SUV? Would you make the switch to electric for a vehicle this large? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep look at the Genesis GV90, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we will be bringing you more videos covering the latest upcoming cars, electric vehicles, luxury SUVs, new technology, and the future of the automotive world. The Genesis GV90 represents a bold step into that future, and if Genesis can deliver everything this flagship promises, it could become one of the most exciting luxury electric SUVs to watch. For decades, luxury meant a large engine, a long hood, a complicated transmission, and the sound of power. Now luxury can mean something completely different. It can mean silence. It can mean instant torque. It can mean intelligent software. It can mean a cabin that feels like a private lounge. It can mean charging while you take a short break. It can mean advanced driver assistance. It can mean using technology to make everyday life easier rather than simply adding more buttons. And that is where the Genesis GV90 becomes especially interesting. It isn't just an electric SUV. It is Genesis's statement about what luxury mobility can look like in the next generation. The GV90 has the size to make an impact. The three-row layout gives it practicality. The electric powertrain gives it instant performance and refinement. The premium cabin gives it the ability to compete with established luxury SUVs. And the Genesis design language gives it an identity of its own. Whether you're looking at it from the front, side, rear, or inside the cabin, the goal is clear. Create a vehicle that feels like a flagship, a vehicle that doesn't need to rely on excessive styling, a vehicle that doesn't need an enormous engine to prove its performance, a vehicle that can move a large family while keeping everyone comfortable, a vehicle that can transform from a family SUV into a luxury executive lounge, and ultimately, a vehicle that shows Genesis is serious about the future. The Genesis GV90 could therefore become one of the most fascinating large electric SUVs of the coming era. It combines the traditional strengths of a full-size luxury SUV with the new possibilities created by electric power. It aims to provide three-row practicality without sacrificing premium comfort. It aims to deliver powerful performance without the traditional engine noise. And it aims to offer cutting-edge technology without losing the elegance that defines the Genesis brand. That is a difficult combination to achieve. But if Genesis gets it right, the GV90 could be much more than another luxury EV. It could be the vehicle that changes how people see Genesis. It could show that a newer luxury brand can stand confidently beside the biggest names in the industry. And it could prove that the future of premium SUVs doesn't have to be about making the biggest engine. Sometimes, the most impressive thing a luxury vehicle can do is simply make every journey feel effortless. And that is the promise of the Genesis GV90, a large, sophisticated, three-row electric SUV designed for a future where luxury is quieter, smarter, more connected, and more refined. So, what do you think about the Genesis GV90? Would you choose this ultra-luxury electric SUV over Mercedes-Benz GLS, BMW X7, Range Rover, Cadillac Escalade, or another premium three-row SUV? Would you make the switch to electric for a vehicle this large? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep look at the Genesis GV90, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications because we will be bringing you more videos covering the latest upcoming cars, electric vehicles, luxury SUVs, new technology, and the future of the automotive world. The Genesis GV90 represents a bold step into that future, and if Genesis can deliver everything this flagship promises, it could become one of the most exciting luxury electric SUVs to watch.